Is America actually returning to the moon to stay? Will we ever see astronauts on Mars in our lifetime? These are not just ambitious concepts. They're indicators of a space program soaring to new heights. Currently, the United States is at the forefront of a new space exploration era. In this video, we're going to demonstrate exactly how and why America's space program is stronger than ever. To put how far we've come into perspective, let's begin with a brief look back. America's space history started with bold ambition in the Cold War. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy vowed to land a man on the moon before the decade was over. That dream became a reality in 1969, when Apollo 11 touched down on the lunar surface with Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. It was an instant that marked American ingenuity and world leadership. In the years that followed, NASA successfully fulfilled 6 moon landings, demonstrating what could be accomplished with dedication and persistence. But following Apollo, the program changed. The era of the space shuttle started in the 1980s with reusable spacecraft and the construction of the International Space Station with international allies. These flights pushed science and technology forward, but exploration of deep space lagged. For decades, America's human space program remained near Earth, until today. Today, that is changing rapidly. America's space program is healthier, better financed, more sophisticated, and more far-reaching than ever. NASA's 2025 budget request is close to $27 billion, the largest in its history. That amount of money translates into more missions, more exploration, and more American astronauts going out beyond Earth. And behind it is a national strategy aimed at American leadership in space, not merely for science, but for security, technology, and extended presence on other planets. The centerpiece of this new era is the Artemis program. Artemis is NASA's ambitious mission to send humans back to the moon and on to Mars. Artemis I was launched in 2022 as a major test. It was not crewed, but took the Orion spacecraft further than any human-rated vehicle had ever gone. It tested the capabilities of the new Space Launch System, the most powerful rocket ever constructed by the United States. Artemis II, which is coming in 2025, will transport astronauts around the moon, the first woman and the first person of color ever to travel that distance. They won't descend yet, but they'll evaluate critical systems for Artemis III. That mission will put Americans back on the lunar surface. It's more than flags and footprints this time. It's the start of a sustained American presence on the moon. NASA is setting up a permanent base, an actual outpost that astronauts can call home and work, do science, experiment with technology, and investigate the lunar environment. The moon base will be a testing ground for Mars. Why? Because living on the moon teaches us how to survive and work far from home. Astronauts will learn how to utilize local resources, such as mining ice for water and fuel. They'll experiment with generating power, farming, and shielding against radiation. Each step on the moon is one step closer to sending Americans to Mars. One of the most important components of this plan is the Gateway, a compact space station that will orbit the moon. Constructed with American technology and launched on U.S. rockets, it will be a base for future missions to the moon. Astronauts will land there before making the final descent to the surface. It's a new type of space architecture, modular, flexible, and designed to expand. But what's different about today's space program isn't just where we're going, it's how we're getting there. NASA has changed the game by partnering with private American companies to speed up innovation and reduce costs. SpaceX, for example, is building the lunar lander that will carry astronauts to the moon's surface. Their Starship vehicle is designed to be fully reusable and powerful enough to support deep space missions. Reusable rockets represent perhaps the largest spaceflight revolution. Rockets were tossed after being launched once and destroyed. American industry is landing and reflying rockets again and again today, some 15+ times or more. That radically reduces expenses and ramps up the launch rate. It makes America able to send missions quicker, cheaper, and more variably than ever. These alliances are not about minimizing cost. They're about increasing national capability. NASA sets the objectives, ensures safety, and determines the strategy. Private industry designs and delivers under NASA's guidance. This creates high-tech American jobs by the thousands and keeps essential technology in American hands. It's a system that works, and it's driving America's leadership in space. Outside the moon, NASA's focus is squarely on Mars. The long-term goal is to send people to Mars, not to visit, but to explore and to do science. Getting there is hard, it takes months, and it is hard to survive. That is why NASA is developing nuclear propulsion technologies that have the potential to shorten the trip to 3 months from 9. It is not science fiction. Concepts and prototypes are being developed and tested today. As all this is unfolding, American robots have already arrived on Mars. The Perseverance rover is collecting samples of Martian rock that may harbor signs of life from long ago. These will be retrieved and returned to Earth by a joint American mission, the first one ever. Riding shotgun with Perseverance is easy, the tiny helicopter that made the first powered flight on another planet. These missions are opening doors to the investigation of the Martian environment before human arrival. NASA is reaching further as well. The James Webb Space Telescope, deployed in 2021, is the most advanced telescope ever built. It's looking into the depths of space, snapping photographs of galaxies in the early universe. It's studying the atmospheres of distant worlds, searching for conditions similar to Earth's. This telescope is an American-led project, assisted by partners, but powered by U.S. leadership and innovation. Closer to home, the International Space Station keeps soaring, with American astronauts on board every day. But NASA is preparing for what's coming next. New American-built space stations operated by private enterprise. These will be home to science, manufacturing, tourism, and more, all under the support and standards of NASA. It's the next move in living and working in space, and America's taking the lead. And space is no longer about exploration, it's about security. That's why the United States created the Space Force in 2019. Its mission is to protect American interests in space, from satellites to GPS to communications. Space is a core part of modern defense, and America is ensuring that it stays secure, stable, and in charge. Globally, America is creating the norms of peaceful exploration. NASA introduced the Artemis Accords, a set of guidelines for responsible and safe conduct in space. It has been signed up to by over 30 nations, undertaking to operate transparently, to refrain from confrontation, and to share scientific information. These obligations are guided by American values and ensure that space remains a venue for cooperation and not conquest. All this adds up to something big. They're building a future in space. They've got the budget, they've got the tech, they've got the talent, and they know exactly what's coming next. From Florida launch pads to California labs, from New Mexico deep space networks to Texas mission control rooms, the U.S. space program is going full bore. Every launch, every rover, every telescope is one more step forward. And what is so exciting about this moment is that the next generation is watching. Kids growing up today are observing rockets landing themselves, astronauts posting video from space, and real missions to the moon and Mars on the planning boards. NASA is betting on educational initiatives that get science and engineering into classrooms across the country. The premise is simple. Challenge the next generation of American explorers, scientists, and leaders. Yes, so America's space program is more powerful than ever before, not just because of rockets and robots, but because of the why behind it. Every rocket launch is a high-precision miracle. Thousands of parts, systems, and components are all working together in perfect harmony. One single critical piece going wrong, such as the engine, the fuel lines, or the guidance system, and the entire mission could be lost. That's why American engineers put every component and every bolt through its paces before launch. It's not just a question of getting off the ground, it's a question of bringing astronauts safely back to space and home. It's this dedication to perfection, this never-give-up spirit that keeps propelling America into space. Because in spaceflight, there are no shortcuts. All the systems count. And when all the systems function as planned, it's not just a launch, it's a testament to what America can do. Thanks for watching. If you're as excited about America's future in space as we are, comment below. We want to know which part of this new space age gets you hyped up the most. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you'll never miss a video about the future that we're building among the stars. Because for America, the final frontier isn't space, it's just the start.